And we're back with another episode. Yeah. We went on a skiing trip.
Yeah, it's fun.
That was fun. We do our yearly. I wish we could go skiing more. It's just so hard to like.
Well, it's hard because we only ski out west.
Yeah.
Just that powder.
East Coast skiing's fucking trash.
Well, it sort of is.
Yeah. But like you literally can't. Like I would go. It's just that you can't. I mean, people go, I see on their Instagram stories, they'll be on the lifts and it's just complete grass underneath.
Yeah.
It's just, there's just,
it's
even though they make snow, there's just not enough.
Yeah. Well, and we went to Mount Hood, Oregon. That's a glacier. So there's snow year round pretty much, I think. No, definitely.
Yeah.
113 inches. That's good.
One thing as I got older, I feel like I've noticed I used to think I'm not a nature girly, which, well, I am when it comes to the beach, but I'm saying like woods and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a lake girl. Don't like that. But when we went last year to Tahoe and then this year to Oregon, is it Oregon or Oregon? Or doesn't matter?
I think it's Oregon.
Gone. Okay. When we went there, like just driving around, even if you don't go skiing, just going there, it is so beautiful. Like, I think when you live on the East Coast, until you go and see that, you don't realize that how like insane it is. Like you could see pictures, but it almost looks fake in pictures.
Yeah, it's sick.
You don't realize how we don't see any of that here until you go there. And like I said, we could go there even if like I didn't ski and just like hung out. We had a sick Airbnb. It was really cool. It was just so gorgeous. It's like definitely peaceful. I wouldn't want to be there in the summer though, because I would just be thinking the whole time I could be at the beach. But in the winter, I love it. It's so cozy and warm.
Super cozy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
You got good this year. It was I was happy. It was so weird. I was happy for you, but at the same time, I was like jealous and kind of mad.
Well, I think a big part of it is you seem to be a little scared still. Once you're scared of doing anything, it's like really hard to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like I feel like I'm a little less like scared to go down something challenging. So if you have it in your head, like, oh, I'm scared, this is too much, you're definitely not going to be able to do it.
Yeah. I mean, like last year when we went, we were the same level. If anything, I was a touch better. I don't know. I was
better than me.
You were like, looked like a crazy person. Your like hands were in the air with the poles sticking out. And like, your like you looked like crazy. I think we did the same runs and everything, our Skilla, but you just didn't look good. And you're so big, so it's like super obvious. And you were like, you knocked over like 3 kids last time.
And now.
So then that's what I was like, oh, this is fun because we're the same. We do everything the same, whatever. This year, all of a sudden, right off the rip, you were just like, I don't know what happened. You felt like I looked at you, you look natural.
Just got to relax.
And I was like, damn, okay. And then everyone we're with, they live out there. They go skiing all the time. So they're really good.
All good, yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, wow, I'm the only one that's like not good. And so everyone's going down and they're like, oh, we'll stay together. And I was like, listen, you guys can go. Like, you guys can go out. You don't feel like you have to stay with me. I'm good with I'll do Lazy Mile for 5 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
But we would go down a little hill and then they'd all stop and wait. And I'm coming down, like pizza pieing my way down.
Then you get self-conscious.
And then I'm like, hey, you guys can go. They're like, no, it's fine. We go skiing all the time. So it really doesn't matter. I'm like, yeah, but like now every time I'm going down, instead of just enjoying it and trying it, I'm looking at everyone waiting for me at the bottom and thinking the whole time, like, am I taking too long? I have to hurry up. And it like takes the enjoyment out of it. Cause I notice when it comes to skiing, I don't like to challenge myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And like our friend that was going he's like really good and was like explaining how he feels when he skis, and he goes, when you're going down the mountain and you're so scared, your heart's beating, you're petrified, there's a part that's really tough and you finally get through and you get to the bottom and you just feel so good. And I was like, whoa, our like mindset with skiing couldn't be further opposite, where I'm like, if it's a little challenging, why would I do that? I find so much joy in just relaxing and going down the easy slopes and I look at the trees more than the skiing. Like just seeing all the scenery is more interesting to me than actually like the performance of my skiing.
Well, I think that's because if you're used to like your challenging thing is like going in front of, you know, a sold out crowd in Madison Square Garden and fighting someone in a cage.
Yeah.
So like nothing will really live up to that. So why try to get like a rush like that? Just enjoy the scenery where like, and you're doing jujitsu and fighting all the time. So that's your like challenging activities. If you don't do that, maybe you would want to challenge yourself through skiing, or like people who run like long crazy runs or bikes. Marathons, like that seems insane to you probably, right? You're like, why would you do that?
Yeah, I could understand that a little bit more, because there's like times, there's like actual ways to measure your performance, whether it's for just personal performance or not. But yeah, so then I was like, everyone just go. I only fell once though.
Yeah, you did.
You didn't fall at all?
No.
That's crazy. So now, last year you fell a lot and I didn't fall at all. So I'm still up.
Yeah, I guess so.
And then we got, how about we got the one day we were at an Airbnb with 2 other couples, so 3 total. And then the one night we got a private chef, which I thought was like a cool experience. None of us have ever done that. So the chef came over to the house and prepared. It was like a 5-course meal type of thing.
Yeah.
5-6-course meal. So it was really cool. Like paired it with the wine. She showed us like the menu before. It was really cool because our Airbnb was like super cool. So instead of all of us having to like get 2 Ubers, go out, find a place to eat, and you know what I mean? It was just a kind of a cool experience. It wasn't like as expensive as I thought it would. It was, you know, it wasn't cheap. Wasn't that much. If we would have went out to like a nice restaurant, it would have been more, because it was like with wine and dessert.
Yeah, it probably would have been similar.
Yeah. But I thought it was a really cool experience.
It was cool. It was, you know, we're kind of like food people. We cook a lot ourselves. Tough crowd. Well, us.
Just
the other people, maybe our friends, maybe not so much, but
personality.
The first like 4 courses, I was like, first like 3, I was, wow, this is really good, just killing it, amazing. Then the main course was like, it was like Dungeness crabs and ribeye steaks, and prior to going they were like, well, what temperature do you like your steak? I was like, all right, she knows what's up. And I told her, and she really fucked those steaks up.
It's funny, like this
terrible
steaks were so bad. Like even the people that aren't like super foodies were like, this is bad. First of all, she gave everyone like, I don't know, like how many ounces do you think the steak was?
Huge.
Like 15-ounce steak?
Bigger.
Maybe, yeah. It was huge.
Super weird. Everything else was like perfectly delicately plated. And organized.
The portion size was like perfect.
Then she just gave a slab of meat.
Yeah, it was like crazy. I like gave her 2 of them to go, because then I felt bad we're not eating them, but then there was so much left over. I gave it to her, whatever. It was crazy. Yeah. And then we got the crab legs. They didn't really give us the things to break them with.
Yeah.
You just had to use your hands. That's tough.
It's tough. Yeah, she made it like 3/4 of the way through it.
And it was just long. By the end, we were like, it was great, but then we're kind of like, all right, well, because it's all open, the kitchen, living room. So like, I don't know. I don't like
Yeah.
And then
but
how
it was
about
still fun.
She stole our butter.
She stole their butter too.
So she stole our butter. So they come out. They had like a bread, like fresh bread from like a local bakery. And then she's like, oh, this is the unsalted butter. I made it. I was like, oh, amazing. Homemade butter. So cool. She goes, and then there's also, if you don't like that, there's also salted butter. We're like, oh, cool. Okay. Well, next morning we go to make eggs. We realize I'm like, hey, wasn't there like a big block of Kerrygold in the fridge? And they're like, yeah, no, it's in there. We didn't use it yet. It's in there. Wasn't there. And I was like, wait a minute. On the menu, it just said homemade bread or bread and butter. I was like, she used our Kerrygold, and she like kind of flexed that it was like she insinuated that she made it.
Yeah.
She stole our butter.
Yeah, she did.
It's fucked up.
That's all right.
It's still really good. I would still do it again. You know what's funny? Before we even went, when we picked out the menu and looked at it and it said steaks, I was surprised you said steaks, because I was like, so we're just going to be disappointed. But then I was like, well, there's so many things on the menu, so it didn't really matter. It wasn't how bad can it be, but it was like.
Right. Terrible.
Yeah. But it was fun. Super fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Good weekend. There's a bunch of different sporting, I guess combat sporting events to talk about. The UFC fights this weekend, there's not like a ton to talk about, but Tatiana Suarez made her return.
That's the only fight I watched because it was like, I didn't really know many other ones, but
she looked really good.
Really
had a good finish. And I thought after that, I was like, oh, I was excited that she was back because I always thought, I was like, oh, that would be a really good fight for you. It would be a fun, like she's, pretty popular.
Yeah.
Good name. And it was definitely a challenging fight, but I thought that would be a good next fight for you because she's going to be, talked about a lot now.
Right.
But then after the fight, I think she announced that she's going back down to 115.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So does she not cut much weight for 125?
I'm not sure. I think she's probably, I don't know why, but I got the impression she cuts a lot for 115. And I think she said just because it was her first fight coming back in a while, she wanted to just focus on preparing for the fight and not have to worry about stress about weight cutting.
Yeah.
So I kind of get that, but she looked good at, it's like, she looks strong and good at 125. So I thought maybe she would kind of play it out. And if she, depending on how she felt, she would pick or choose. Cause
there's a bunch of good fights at 115. And
yeah, I think for her, it's probably the same. So whichever one you feel more comfortable at, she probably feels a little bit, maybe she feels more confident at 115 because of her, if she feels stronger at that weight division. But yeah, she said she's going to move back down. So
yeah. So need to find another opponent.
Yeah, that one's not gonna work.
Yeah, that would have been fun though.
Yeah.
But then the big fight this weekend was the Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Very obviously popular, but we watched it, which we don't really watch boxing, but we did watch that fight. And
I feel like we only watch Jake Paul boxing
pretty much,
fight.
yeah. I've seen Tommy Fury fight like as many times as I've seen Tyson Fury fight.
I've seen him fight more than I've seen Tyson Fury fight.
Right. So I thought that both of them looked pretty good. Like they both looked like, pretty good. Everyone's
very
really hard on Jake Paul. And I was thinking about this. They're like, well, he's a YouTuber, this and that. I'm like, how are you still saying that?
Yeah.
It's so
We've
ridiculous.
talked about that before. I don't understand that.
But he just happened to do YouTube. Everyone did something before they started fighting,
right?
But not everyone started fighting and went all in with the best trainers and best coaches and endless money to have the best nutrition, best recovery. So of course he's going to be getting better. But it's funny because I never thought of it like that. I always kind of thought of him because I didn't know him until he was a boxer. So I think of him as a boxer.
Yeah.
I didn't
agree.
know who he was until, I don't follow that stuff.
Right.
Like YouTubers.
It's a little bit younger.
It's younger.
His fan base was younger than us, so we don't really. I heard of before he started doing boxing, I had heard of his name and knew he was like a YouTuber. That's it. I literally, I can't even tell you like when he was first started being popular, like what his YouTubes were. If
exactly.
Vlogs or what. I don't even know.
So the fight itself, I'm certainly not an expert at boxing or what to look for in terms of like who's winning or whatever. But I thought Tommy Fury was winning pretty much all of the rounds. But Jake Paul did he looked a little smaller than Tommy Fury, but he fought like he was bigger. Really get that vibe. He was like pressing forward so much, and he did a good job of pressing forward and like throwing some power shots. But every time that they would come close, it looked to me that Jake Paul was clinching him up. And then they took a point away from Tommy Fury for clinching. And he looked like he was trying to like do everything he could to break away and not because he wanted to keep distance. Like there's no way he was trying to clinch. He's like a longer fighter, arms, using his jab. Yeah, I thought Tommy Fury's jab looked really, really good, and he looked comfortable. His hands were down the whole time, and Jake Paul's got a lot of power. But so that was kind of cool.
The ref was so insane.
Was so weird.
It's funny because then the commentators were even saying, they're like, he's kind of ruining the fight. And we were saying that before they did. I was like, he's distracting. I'm like, what is his problem? He was like, at one point he said to Jake, he's like, do you want to fight? But then he took away. Yeah, I saw the replay. But then he took a point away for Tommy for clinching. And it's like, first of all, like, I don't think people understand. Some people are like, oh, they're just clinching the whole time. Well, you're used to seeing in the highest.
Right,
most people are used to
right.
seeing the highest level
Canelo.
of boxing. Canelo, Tyson Fury, like
Right.
that's different. If you're watching pros, even pros with 20, 30 fights, that's what it looks like. There's a huge difference. They looked like good new pros.
Right.
There's a bit, and new pros are gonna be like getting scared to hit or just making, or even just when they get kind of turned around a little bit, you don't see
they don't necessarily have the footwork to pivot out and like,
they get they trip over themselves a little and stuff. Like it's just that the
takes
common
time to
fans are used to seeing, like, that's why you could see a boxer that's really good in UFC. If they were to do a fight, it's not gonna look exactly the same. It's just you only see this extreme highest level of boxing, so you compare it to that, which isn't fair.
It's not fair.
Doesn't mean they're not good.
Right.
It's just things like that happen, like with clinching up and stuff. Like that's just kind of what happens when you get close, because you're not as fast, not as slick.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that they got that right. But I don't think that Jake Paul looked bad or he was exposed at all.
It was competitive.
Yeah, it was competitive. But I've seen a few things like who he should fight next. And I think that he shouldn't be thinking about a boxer or really even like an MMA guy. I think you have to go back to like what
celebrity
made you popular to begin with. Like that KSI is probably who he should fight. He's the same thing as him, and also a pretty good boxer, but like a very popular YouTuber. So that's where, because otherwise, where are you going?
I think he's established too much as a fighter.
No, that guy's a pretty established fighter too.
Okay, so
he's like 4-0. He beat his brother.
Okay. All right. Because like literally, how many like YouTuber and new boxers are there? Like it's probably the only one. Because besides him, now he's kind of too established in boxing and too much of consider too much of a boxer to just fight like a random athlete trying to box.
Not that. You can't have that. But the YouTuber, you could do that again, I think. And then kind of like start it over and then start fighting like MMA guys.
I think they'll do a rematch.
I don't think so.
I think they will, because I think that the fans that were watching that are not fight fans, but they're just kind of like social media fans that are interested in it, they'll watch, they'll want to see it. They'll be like, it was a split decision, it was close, let's do it again. You know what I mean? You're thinking of it like from someone with like a fight IQ type of like, all right, I already saw it, like who cares if it's again? But
right.
I mean,
I don't like the idea that rematches are so popular right now in big fights. I don't like rematches almost ever. Even if you do win, like Volkanovski and Islam, I don't think there should be an immediate rematch, because I don't like what's become like a thing now is you have to beat the person twice.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
Leon Edwards just knocked out Usman. I know Usman's a legendary fighter and like an iconic champion, but he was knocked out. Like let Leon Edwards fight someone else, defend the belt, then Usman wins another one, and then have him fight. The immediate rematch to me makes it almost implies like you have to beat him twice. You have to beat the champion. You got to beat him 2 in a row.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't really like that,
especially when they're like immediate. It's like, well, nothing changed. Let like time go by. Let people develop. Let's see what happens. How they recover from a win or a loss in their next performance before they go back to it. Because like you said, now it's like, oh, you have to beat him twice.
Yeah, I don't really care for that. But it's funny because after Jake lost, I thought to myself, because I like Nate Diaz a lot, and I was hoping that he would have gotten the Jake Paul fight. But after the fight, I was like, well, now that fight's gone. Like,
I don't think it is.
No, but that's what I thought. Then I was like, that kind of sucks. And Nate Diaz, I don't know if he has like an advisor or if he comes out with this stuff on his own, but right after the fight, he didn't call out Jake Paul because it's like, well, he just lost. Why would you call someone out who just lost to like a random guy? Or not like an iconic guy like Nate Diaz. So then Nate Diaz just jumped right over Jake Paul and said, I want to fight Logan Paul.
Yeah.
He's a bitch, this and that. I'm like, wow, that's so smart, because it's just as big a fight.
Oh, of course, it's the same thing.
And it's probably easier. Jake's a better boxer than Logan.
I don't know.
For sure he is.
Yeah.
Logan's fought 3 times or fought 2 times and lost them both. One was to Floyd, but I think Jake's definitely a better boxer.
Yeah.
But just Nate Diaz always makes the right moves with that stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if he does like some type of manager or someone, or if he just thinks it on his
because if he would have called them out after, calling someone out when they lose is always,
you can't,
like, kind of tacky.
Even if you want to, and you're like, I want that fight, you can't.
Yeah. You almost have to go another way. Like, you have to say like, oh, I think the fight that makes sense next is like, for instance, we're going to get into the UFC fights this weekend, but Valentina is fighting Grasso.
Mm-hmm.
Grasso will likely lose. That would be a good person for you to fight next.
Yeah.
But it'd be hard to be like, well, I want to call her out. I want to fight Grasso. It'd be like, oh, I think it makes sense. We're both coming off loss.
Right.
I should maybe fight Grasso because that would make sense.
Of course. Yeah.
But Nate Diaz always makes the right decisions with that stuff.
Yeah. I wonder if he will fight Logan.
Maybe.
I don't like Logan.
I like Jake Paul, but I don't like Logan
That's
Paul.
how I feel too.
Yeah.
I don't really know that much about either of them, but from what I do see, I don't.
Yeah.
Logan's annoying.
He's a little annoying to me too.
But he also has like a podcast, and I think he like puts himself out there a little bit more, so there's probably more things to critique.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. But so that was fun to watch. Then the other
what I like, sorry, one thing about that is you don't know about the whole like Love Island.
No.
So I was excited and I was cheering for Tommy, and I'm a fan of him because I watched Love Island. And him and his girlfriend, now Molly May, they met on there, and they were like kind of like everyone's favorite couple. And like every girl loves her, loves like them together. They were super cute. And it was funny seeing all like the videos of like guys watching the fight, and then all the girlfriends were like, I never watch normally during a boxing fight, and they're sleeping. They're like, me versus when Molly May's boyfriend fights. And they're like, yes, let's go. And it was like all these girls yelling, Molly May, Molly May. I was like, damn, they probably got, because she's super famous, especially wherever she's from. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet you a lot of like more girls watch that and were excited about it than any other Jake Paul fight.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love
because she's definitely like more popular than him.
Wait, he's more popular than Jake Paul?
No, than Tommy.
Oh, yeah.
They're probably, I mean, they're both got popular together and the same, but like more girls are into like Love. It seems like more girls are kind of more into Love Island, so they that's how they
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, you're not missing much, but it's kind of like it's one of those things you're like guilty pleasure.
Right.
You're like, I don't really want to tell people how into this I am.
Yeah, that's funny. The other big news in combat sports was there was the Flograppling event, the Who's Number One, and it was supposed to be Gordon and Felipe Penne.
Mm-hmm.
And Gordon got sick, had to pull out, so they replaced them with Nickal, and there's been a lot of like people weren't happy with Gordon.
Yeah.
After that.
People are really mad.
Really mad.
But it's like, I don't really get it, but I also don't get a lot of things when it comes to jiu-jitsu. Sometimes I'm like, well, if he's sick and pulls out, won't they just do another match like in a little, like a month or two or whatever? It'll just reschedule it. Like, why is everyone like mad? I think that they were mad because him making fun of Felipe for almost pulling out the last time for their first match, and him saying like, oh, like you're a pussy, you shouldn't pull out. And then he gets sick and pulls out.
Right.
So I think that's maybe like where people were kind of arguing with, but I
think that's almost like, it's just like social media drama. Like it's fun. It's almost more interesting to watch like those Craig Jones videos. Like those are definitely more entertaining than the match would have been. So if there's material for people like Craig to use, it's more entertaining than if Craig were to be like, well, I want to fight Gordon. Like, cause that's not going to be that entertaining. Like Gordon would probably just beat him. Like,
well, the trash talk's more fun.
Right. The trash talk's more fun. So the fact that Gordon pulled out, to me, that like, I was more interested in all the watching like the trash talk and that type of thing. Because I always say, like, I feel bad for Gordon that he happens to be the best ever at a sport that there really isn't someone for him to compete with. So he has to be like I don't think of him as like, I know he probably wouldn't even like to hear this, but I don't think of him as like a professional athlete. I think of him as like a business person. I think of him as like a icon of the sport, a social media person, but there just isn't a competitive architecture to support him being like a professional athlete. Like, because the next best guy is so far below him, and there isn't like a, there's not like a bracket or a ladder or rankings that are good enough to support that.
There's not like one league division.
Right. There's
like
different rule sets every match.
There's no rosters.
Right.
It just changes every time, which makes it hard to like follow.
It's hard. It's hard. Yeah. But it seems that Craig Jones, I don't know if he's just being funny or if he's really trying to position himself to get a match with Gordon.
Yeah, probably a little bit of both.
Why is he going so hard?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably it's good material for his social media.
But the match itself, Penne and Nickal,
I missed that one.
You missed it. Yeah. I mean, those matches are just too long. Like everyone's complaining, like, oh, it was boring. It was boring. But any match that goes 30 minutes is boring.
100%.
They're just, no one can have
10 minutes pace. Is a stretch.
Yeah, you can't have an entertaining pace for 30 minutes. Well, so it's the design to just stall.
And like, it's sub only.
It's sub only. Like you can't just explode. Like I'm going to double leg, pass his guard, get on top, choke him out. Like, because if you don't do that, you're going to be exhausted in 12 minutes. Right? I think, and this is, some jiu-jitsu people don't agree with this, I think that no match should be never longer than 15 minutes. I think
10.
Matches should be 10 minutes.
Even a 10-minute match, when you watch it, it's boring for the first 5 minutes and then they pick it up the last 4 and you're like, ooh, but it's short enough where you can forget how boring the first 6 or 7 minutes were. Yeah.
And I love jiu-jitsu and I love wrestling too. But if a wrestling match was 30 minutes, there is no chance I'm watching it. Like, the shorter the match, the more entertaining it is.
Especially you need to if it's like no points.
Yeah. I think in order to make it, like I said, like a real professional, like not just like a one-off events, like a competitive architecture's like competitive sport, I think you have to make one rule set, universal rule set, just like wrestling, boxing, everything's the same rule set. And have it never more than, I mean, I think 10 minutes, but all right, so you could stretch it to 15.
No, you can't.
I mean, they do that for MMA. They make like title
but there's
fights.
Breaks in between.
Yeah, there is breaks in between.
There's breaks in between to like,
Yeah, right. You could sprint for 5 minutes, recover for a minute.
If they just did a 25-minute MMA match, it wouldn't be the same.
Right. The breaks, that makes a big difference.
Because you get to recover. If you're in a bad position, you get out, No way. 15 minutes is like 10 minutes is, to me, is too long.
And yeah, even in jiu-jitsu, people don't like a reset, but it would be kind of cool if there was sort of like rounds.
Well, because then it makes you push it.
You
at the
have
end
to
of the
go
round.
so hard. Like if you have someone mounted, you got to try so hard to finish that, because otherwise he could get saved by the bell.
Yeah.
Where in like a fight, you see that, like when someone's in a dominant position, they're fucking raining down punches.
Especially when they know there's only a short time left, they might jump for a submission that they wouldn't have, if there was more time left. Yeah.
I think the matches need to be shorter and one rule set.
Yeah.
It can't be EBI this match and no time limit this match. And
I mean,
ADCC
even on like
match.
a lower level, like at the gym, if someone's like just anyone, just a blue belter's like, oh, I'm competing this weekend. Oh, what tournament? This. Oh, what's the rule set? I don't know. Like, what? How is that a thing?
Yeah, it's
you
so
should
strange.
just be gi or no gi. That's it. It's got to be the same rule set. Like, I think back in the day, the idea of submission only seemed interesting. Like, I'm talking like 10, 15 years ago. But like, what are we doing? Like, I don't know. It's boring.
I think it's boring.
And you get two people, like, you know what I mean? They're not like competing. There's only one way to win. So it's like.
Yeah, I agree. Chael Sonnen kind of talks about this a lot. He said he's referenced like a MMA fight, like a title fight is almost twice as long as other fights. You might be a great 3-round fighter, but those extra 2 rounds, you don't have the cardio for it. There's fighters like that.
Yeah.
They just aren't 5-round fighters. So you'd think it should always be the same. Like the Super Bowl doesn't play 6 quarters.
Right.
Right.
No sport.
No sport. It should always be the same. But Chal always has a funny thing that like 25 minutes is too long for a fight. He's like, I don't want to do anything. I love chocolate cake, but I don't want to eat chocolate cake for 25 minutes.
Right,
It's
right.
funny.
Yeah.
But I couldn't agree more. I think that it's far too long.
Yeah.
5 minutes would be the best. People would just sprint going crazy.
Yeah. And if they're like, oh, it's not long. But then, then you had that point. So if it doesn't end in a submission, then it would be like a submission would be like more like a bigger deal.
Right.
I mean, not that it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
Longer
it'd be
matches.
bigger, right.
But it's harder to get. So, you know, and
Sprint.
if not, then it's by points.
Yeah. I that's what I think. How do you feel about that, Zane? You're a jiu-jitsu competitor.
About how long the matches are?
Yeah. Do you think there should be no time limit matches?
No, I think that's stupid.
It's stupid.
I think it's like we're like.
I think that should be like a
old school,
challenge. Like, oh, you think you're good? Oh, come to the gym. We'll see who taps first. Then no one watches.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just like who's gonna watch? I mean, who wants to watch something for that long? You know
No
what I
matter
mean?
who it is.
Like wrestling is like 6 minutes.
6
you know?
minutes, 7
and, like,
minutes.
and even then, like that like might be like too long for some people.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. That
Like,
seems right though.
It does seem right. Like, and realistically, in fairness, like if you want to give both people the opportunity to win, 6
Right.
minutes is fine. But even then, to some people, like that's way too long. Like,
Especially now,
Yeah.
think about it, you can't even make a minute reel. You have to make a 15-second reel on
Right,
social media
yeah.
For
because
attention spans.
because people can't keep their attention. That's why I notice, like, if I want to look something up, I can't look it up on YouTube videos. Like, if I want to look up someone talking about like some sort of like diet or like a review on something, like a review on some type of product, you used to always look up on YouTube and there are people be giving their reviews. Now I look at a video, I'm like, there's no way I'm watching a 15-minute video. I'll go on TikTok, I go in the search, I'm like, I can get a 20-second review on it, and I can get like 100 of them in that 15 minutes. Like,
Well, there's YouTube videos. I don't totally agree with that because I watch a lot of longer YouTube videos,
then it's a
but they're good at
podcast.
like cutting it and stuff. Some
Yeah.
people with video editing, they'll have like things pop up and like.
but why
it's
do you have to have the
changing your
time? What are those called, Zane? The little thumb things?
Timestamps?
Timestamps. You
Oh,
have
so
to have that
important.
because no one wants to fish through a
That
whole
one
15
guy
minute.
always comments how if you don't do it,
Yeah,
MMA,
now I've been
MMA
doing
clips.
them every day.
Yeah.
But I see what
he gives you a
means,
lot of
though.
shit.
Like even I'm watching a video and like it's like 15 minutes long. I'm like, there's no timestamps. I'm not making it. Through
You
this
won't
whole
even because
thing.
you don't have enough time and attention to like look through it.
Yeah.
Like when I watch like my videos on like tribal islands,
Yeah.
some of those are
But
like
that's
40
like a
minutes. It's like a
podcast.
documentary.
That's
almost.
like
Right.
Or if there's someone like, you know, explaining their something journey or whatever, I'll watch a YouTube video, but I'm ready to like listen to it and I don't need to watch it, you know?
Right. So yeah, the matches need to be shorter. The other big thing that came out of that match, and Zane, I'd like your thoughts on this as well. Felipe was complaining that Nicky Rod, just like Gordon was greasing. So much greasing talk.
Uh-huh.
How greasy are these boys?
Yeah. How do you feel about it? Have you ever experienced?
I've rolled with people that like moisturized really well and they shave their body, and it is pretty hard to keep a hold
It's
of them.
different?
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
I've noticed, like, I don't really wear shorts when I train, but if I do like MMA sparring sometimes, if I like had just shaved and then I put lotion on, if I can't put lotion on the day I train because I'm like sweat, it's like greasy,
Right.
and it's like slippery, you know. Plus, I just feel like feels gross. But like I've had times like I definitely is like,
Yeah.
and that's when I put lotion on, like, you know, in the morning and train at night.
Right.
Like hours.
Well, I think that's kind of what they say. Like Gordon gave a big explanation on greasing, and he said that they do it like the day before, put in their hair or something. Then when you start sweating,
So
it
that
comes
yeah,
up.
because then that
So
way.
how do you stop that then? I mean, that can't really be.
Get over it.
I think you just kind of have
Long
to.
sleeves and spats.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think you could penalize that, because if they're doing it like the day before or something and it just comes up with sweat, like people are
can't-
always gonna.
But I think you can, if you want to mitigate it, you should have everybody compete in long sleeves and spats.
If everybody competed, that would change things.
Yeah.
You think?
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That makes
All
it so
right.
much
So there's
stickier.
their answer.
Because the whole reason
Yeah.
why people wear shorts in competition, or like, I mean, or they wear no shirt for like the guys, they wear no shirts. The whole point of that is like, oh, I can slip out of submissions easier.
Oh.
That's the whole, like, because think about it, no guys in training are shirtless, and then in ADCC they start. It's like they wear that because it's like, oh, you can slip out easier, especially when you're sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's without like the theory of greasing. So it's just an issue. Like just wear pants if it's at.
So yeah, you're right. If that fixes it, that needs to, then who's number one should just have, you wear whatever spats you want. You not necessarily a uniform, but that should be it. That would fix it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it would fix it, but I think it would significantly decrease the problem.
Right.
I mean, you're definitely gonna have problems like people like are like pretending to like engage. You know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
That like definitely doesn't help the sport whatsoever.
Wait, what were you saying?
Like how like people in like jiu-jitsu matches can like pretend to do jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Like in wrestling, if you're stalling, like it's blatantly obvious.
Yeah.
Like
well, you get penalized. You're not allowed to stall.
yeah, exactly. Or like in freestyle, like if you get pushed out, like that's a point.
It's a point.
You know what I mean? Like there should be some sort of rule like that in jiu-jitsu, I feel.
Well, if the rounds were shorter, they would push it a little bit.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be stalling as much.
I mean,
Probably.
yes and no.
I guess if they're up by points.
Well, yeah, if it was like overtimes and the rounds were shorter, then they would be stalling because they'd be like, well, all I have to do is stall out for 4 minutes.
I mean, you look at IBJJF, like people just like score 1 point and they just stall the rest of the match.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is shorter.
Yeah.
You definitely need like hard stalling rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to.
I don't know though. Like, I think that because Gordon had already put it out there about like Nickal greasing, I think that Felipe really went with it.
Really did.
I mean, you're in the match. What are they gonna do? Cancel the? He was like complaining. I'm like, what are they gonna do? Stop the match and disqualify him? Like, there's no proof. Like, if it's like if it isn't illegal to do that, I mean, but there's no proof you did it. Like, what are you gonna do? Stop the match and be like, you feel sweatier than normal, so you're disqualified. Like, I feel like at some point it's like, I mean, if people are doing that, then they've done it for years. It's never been an issue. Like, you just kind of gotta.
Just kind of part of it.
Yeah, I mean, even like Gordon didn't say anything till it wasn't like in the middle of the match. He's like telling the ref, like, he did the match, he won, and then he was like, yeah, he's definitely like was greasy. Like, kind of almost just stated a fact. But to be like complaining about it in the middle of the match, it's like, well, what do you expect?
Right.
Them to disqualify him and stop the match or like check? It seems like it's so much talk. It's like, I don't know.
You know what? Maybe you could fix it. Maybe if you like decrease the amount of submissions that you can do, and then you just make it like 1 6-minute match. Because think about it, like most people don't want to step in the guard because they don't want to like get their leg broken, right? And that's why like most people run away.
But people watching want to see someone get their leg broken.
People watching want to see somebody get their leg broken, but you can't like with leg locks coming into the game, like you don't really see them as much as you would think, right?
Yeah, you're right. I feel like you don't see them as much how you were for a while. Yeah, I think people's defense just got better.
Like if you look at like Nicky Rod, right? Like every time Felipe went to go put him in something, like he just ran away. And then when Felipe tried to get up, he just doubled him down. Right. So it's like, if that's the whole match, like I'd rather be like, let's just not do leg locks and then let's just see what else you got.
Well, that's why I think though when the Fury grappling matches were kind of cool because they did it good by doing like an MMA fighter versus a high level grappler, and then if that's the case, they take away the leg locks, and then it was a great match. Like seeing Craig Jones and Sean Brady go, it was exciting. But if there was leg locks in there, Craig Jones would maybe just leg lock him.
Probably.
Right away. Maybe not, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying eliminate leg locks, but yeah.
I don't know if I agree with that. But
well, what do you think?
I think that's good for if it's a fighter versus a grappler.
See, I don't necessarily agree with that either because now I like Sean Brady a lot, so I'm happy he has this win.
I get what you're saying.
Now he has. Well, I beat Craig Jones in grappling. Like even Gordon was kind of hating on Craig the other day, and he posted a picture. He's like, "You can't even beat an MMA fighter." But like, yeah, but it wasn't with the only thing I'm good at or the thing I'm best at.
Yeah,
not the only thing. Like
I
it's
agree.
obviously good at everything.
Okay, I'm thinking of it.
So now for the rest of his life, he's like, "Yeah, I beat Craig Jones in grappling." But like, kind of.
Yeah,
because nobody looks at the asterisk and says no leg locks.
No one.
So I don't agree with that.
Yeah,
that's a different sport.
Yeah, I think it should just be one rule.
One rule set.
I mean, leg locks. I
think you should be able to do them.
Of course.
Yeah, you should. But I feel like most people just like, I don't know. You look at most of these matches, like there's one guy, like let's say there's one guy who's like really good at leg locks, right? And like that's the only thing he does all match, and the other person on top just isn't engaging. Like, how do you?
Then I think
then
you have
the
to give
person's got to like
stalling.
wrestle up and then you go to your stand up with them and then try to take him down.
But he's probably not
Or-
gonna stand up.
No,
'cause
but
that's
I
what he
think,
knows.
or the other person standing, if you're just backing up from the leg locks, you get a stalling point.
Yeah,
Both people have to push the action.
agree. Both people.
Agree.
Yeah, I agree. Now the other thing that I saw with all this drama was some pushback because Gordon's going hard on the no greasing, and then people are saying, well, what's worse, greasing or steroids? And if you didn't know anything about it, of course steroids seem far worse. But Gordon makes such a good point. I mean, it's so obvious, but steroids are legal in jiu-jitsu. Greasing is not.
Yeah,
So
I
there's
don't
really
even know why
nothing to
this,
say,
I
like-
don't know why that's even a conversation.
Yeah, because everyone's giving Gordon shit about like he takes all these steroids.
Like almost everyone does.
Most people do, but
and if they're
you're-
not, they're allowed to.
If you're not allowed to take steroids, if they said no more steroids, then if you took steroids, yeah, you're cheating.
Yes.
But you're not allowed
You're
to
taking
grease.
steroids in UFC, it's cheating.
It's cheating.
In jiu-jitsu, it's not cheating because it's not illegal. I think people just like get so upset about that.
Yeah. And then even if some people say this, I don't know if this is true, but in MMA or UFC, people are like, well, you think those guys don't take steroids? They know they take it and don't get caught. I don't see how that's possible, but if it is, and it very well could be, if you don't get caught, then you're getting drug tested. If you don't get caught, then you're not cheating.
Mm-hmm.
You're only cheating when you get caught, right?
Innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, you have to go by that.
I just don't know. Like, I know so many fighters. I don't know if people say that all the time. Like, oh, they're getting away with it. I'm like, do you know how freaking hard it is? Like,
Maybe in other countries it's different. Like if you trained in Kazakhstan, maybe you could be like, here's $20.
Yeah.
UP in the cup.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But
not in New York.
Not in New York. I think it'd be very difficult. But so that's kind of long for the jiu-jitsu. But I wanted to talk about the fights this weekend. Huge card, UFC 285. The return of John Jones, which is super exciting. But there's a lot of other good fights on the card. It's the return of John Jones, and the first fight on the main event is the debut of Bo Nickal.
I forgot about him.
He's competing against Jamie Pickett. And the only reason I know that name is because he's 13-8. His last fight was against a guy who I'm a fan of, Kyle Dawkins. Kyle Dawkins submitted him in the first round. So I think I'm going to go out on a limb, and I know that Jamie has a lot more fights, but I think Bo Nickal's going to win this fight.
Yeah, me too.
What do you think, Zane?
Bo Nickal, he's from the hype.
Yeah.
Hype train.
Yeah, I think he's obviously going to do really good. Probably take him down, submit him, I would guess.
I'm assuming he fought on Contender Series a while ago and took a long time to get a fight. He probably will just pick his fight, have his fights picked out and then take a long time in between to try to kind of catch up and get better.
I don't know. I think he's kind of ready to go.
I mean, I'm saying long time, 6 months.
Right. And the thing is,
when he
everyone's
was
always
in
like,
wrestling, did he get injured a lot?
No.
Because usually, you know what I mean? That's
right.
big, I feel like a lot of wrestlers, just athletes in general, there's some people that get injured a lot, no matter what. So if he's not, then that's good too.
And we've talked about Bo Nickal before. And the reason there's wrestlers that are probably, that have competed in the UFC that are similar, in terms of wrestling ability, in a wrestling match, there's guys that have done the similar accomplishments as him and not necessarily had tremendous success. There's a guy who's also an NCAA champion. People probably don't even know this, but a 3-time NCAA champion. His name was Jake Rosholt. He was an amazing wrestler, amazing 3-time champion. And then he went to the UFC and kind of had mixed success. He had maybe 4 or 5 fights and got cut. But Bo Nickal, even when he was wrestling, it looked like he was grappling.
Oh, okay.
You know, so you knew he was going to pick up the jiu-jitsu like really, really quick.
Isn't that kind of like Askren?
Askren was like kind of like that too. It looked like he was grappling. So that style, what Bo Nickal does, he was really good at upper body. He was really good at like chin straps, and very good on top, getting hooks in, like control.
Mm-hmm.
That style is always going to do good. So, I mean, he's probably ready to go with almost anyone.
Yeah.
I think. But so yeah, we're gonna go with Bo Nickal that fight. The next fight, we have Mateus Gamrot versus Jalen Turner. Are you familiar with either of them?
Gamrot, I like a lot, but I don't know Turner.
Jalen Turner, he's on like probably a 5 or 6 fight win streak. All like finishes too. He's definitely very good. He's like 6'3" at lightweight.
Okay.
So his last loss though, it was a while ago now, but was Frivola.
Oh, okay.
Frivola beat him. Yeah.
I was
so
like, the name sounds familiar, but I'm like, I don't.
I think that Gamrot is a replacement. I forgot who he was originally supposed to fight, but Gamrot is really a difficult matchup.
Yeah.
Like almost anyone.
Yeah.
You know, he's beaten.
I feel like he just needs he just hasn't had enough fights to.
Yeah. He beat what's their Armenian? Sarukian.
Yeah.
Like that was a close fight, but I mean, the Sarukian's as good as it gets, pretty much. And Gamrot beat him, but Gamrot did lose to Beneil Dariush. But Beneil also has superior grappling, super high level. I think that Jalen Turner's going to have a hard time with Gamrot's grappling, even though Jalen Turner is a really good fighter, lots of power, but I think that the grappling is going to be the difference there. So we're going to go with Gamrot.
A lot of grappling wrestling so far.
The next fight, Jeff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. That's the Kazakhstan fighter. He's 16-0, 8 finishes, knockout, 8 finishes, submissions. His last fight was against Neal Magny. He submitted him.
I like him.
Who?
Him.
Oh my God, he's amazing.
I mean, I like Neal Magny too, but yeah.
Rakhmonov, I don't understand like why.
Time.
Yeah, like Chimaev. Like he's the same thing, except way more fights and.
Well, he hasn't like.
He hasn't
gotten on the camera and like made a few
I don't know
comments.
if he speaks English.
Yeah. Well, Chimaev didn't really either.
No, Chimaev always kind of spoke English. I always thought
I felt like he had enough to say like one sentence.
No, he's always been good at English because I remember thinking when he first came out, I'm like, oh my God, he's so good and he speaks English like better than most of those Russians, you know. But Rakhmonov, Jeff Neal is definitely a knockout artist. He's got a lot of finishes, knockouts. He's beaten some really good guys, but I think that Rakhmonov is going to be a champion, and I think we're going to go with Rakhmonov this fight, and probably a finish on the ground, I would guess.
Yeah. Another grappler.
I'd be pretty confident on those 3 fights, but they could all 3 lose.
All 3 of them could get knocked out.
But that's why I don't bet. But so we have Bo Nickal, Gamrot, Rakhmonov, who I believe will be a UFC champion. Then we go into the co-main event, title fight, Valentina Shevchenko and Alexa Grasso. What do you think?
I mean, Valentina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think it'll be competitive?
Not really. No.
You think Valentina will just grapple her mostly?
Yeah, I think Alexa Grasso is really good. But I will say this. I feel like Alexa Grasso, like her last couple fights, I like not underestimated her, but because she was 15 moving up to 125. So I always thought like, oh, she's good. She's just like kind of too small, but she did really like, I think I always kind of assume that, but once someone moves to a division and they're there for a while, then they kind of grow into that division. So I think I need to like stop thinking that about her. But I will say like Grasso's very well rounded.
She is well rounded.
She's got good boxing, good footwork. I think that Valentina is just a little bit too explosive, and with Valentina when they get to the I don't see Alexa Grasso taking Valentina down, and so if they are on the ground, I think it'll be Valentina, body locking her and putting her on her back. Alexa Grasso has a decent guard, but Valentina doesn't really take people down into their guard. She
lifts them up.
She lifts them up and takes them to like half guard side control.
Right.
You know, so no matter how good your guard is, if you're in half guard side control, it's kind of tough. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Valentina on that. It kind of sucks because for Valentina, you were kind of thinking maybe she would move up. I don't know. I'd move up to fight Amanda at 135, and then she took this because at that time there really wasn't anyone. It was like before me and Manon fought. It was before Erin Blanchfield won, so it was kind of like at that time it seemed like it made more sense for her to go up, and I kind of thought she would have. And then they made this fight, which I was a little surprised. I thought they would have had Grasso fight someone else, but before. But then after they made that fight, then it was like, oh, you could see her fighting Manon, you could see her fighting Erin Blanchfield, but those fights both of them had their wins kind of after this fight was already made.
Right. Yeah, I think Valentina's going to win also. And again, I think she's going to win with grappling. I think she's going to body lock, take her down, and she's pretty good at finishing on the ground. But I think she'll win. I don't know how, but she probably will.
I think now people really would like to see at 125, the fight that people would want to see would be Valentina and Erin Blanchfield. Just because I feel like Valentina's kind of, I think because of her her grappling and her wrestling is so good, and people have a hard time dealing with that. That I think with Erin kind of bringing that the new person in the mix that has really good grappling and wrestling, people will be interested. That's why I really wanted to see Erin versus Santos, because Santos is good at that, and Santos is really good at wrestling and has the power of striking. I was really bummed out that fight I was like super excited for that matchup, because I was kind of like, one day I would be like, oh, Santos is definitely gonna win, and then the next day I was like, no, Lynch. I was kind of I really didn't know where that fight was gonna go, so I wanted to see that, and then not getting pulled out, and then she had a great performance against Andrade, but it was, it sucks because it's like, well, Andrade took a 5-round fight on like 6 days notice, so it's kind of, but Andrade is always in shape, I think, but still it's
such a veteran.
It's a difference, but yeah, I think Valentina's gonna get that, and then I'm always eager after Valentina wins to see if she like calls out Amanda Nunes, because if she wants to fight him, she'll call him out after her fight, but I don't think she will.
I don't think she will for this fight,
especially now. Like I said, there's more contenders.
Yeah, there's more contenders
for her to fight.
Then we have John Jones and Ciryl Gane.
I feel like I haven't on social media like seen any like a lot of footage on John Jones. Like you almost kind of like, is it just me, or is like his return not really being like hyped up as much as you would think?
I would have thought it would have been a little more.
Because like I'm almost like, oh shit, that's this weekend. Like I kind of keep forgetting that's happening. Why is that?
I don't know.
Maybe he's staying like out of the media a little bit.
Yeah, perhaps. It's interesting because a lot of people are like, think that Ciryl is just too good of a kickboxer and too like fast, but I don't know. Like I know John Jones has been gone for a long time, but I feel like John Jones is going to finish him in the first round. Like I feel like if he uses his wrestling, John Jones' grappling is the best in MMA. Mm-hmm. I know people be like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. I mean, look what he did to DC. He took DC down over and over again and never gave up one takedown. And whenever he's on the ground, he doesn't just take people down and hold them down. He doesn't always use his grappling, but when he does for MMA, I think he's the best. His elbows on top and his ability to not get taken down and his ability to get takedowns. I think if he uses his wrestling, it will not be even competitive. Like, Francis took Ciryl Gane down three or four times, right. And Francis does not have the wrestling that John Jones has. John Jones' wrestling and grappling for MMA is as good as it gets.
I also think that everyone kind of holds on to the whole, ring rust, or he's had so much time off. Well, I think I agree with that. Maybe for some people, I think ring rust is only an issue for some people. I don't think John Jones has that issue. First of all, his last fight, he like he's had long layoffs before.
Right, yeah.
I think he's the type that he could I think a lot of his fights when he was in his prime, he probably wasn't even training.
Probably
that
wasn't even
hardcore.
training. Yeah.
You know, I know he's older, but like still.
Yeah. I think that the fact that they're saying how good Surreal's boxing and striking is will probably maybe put John in the mindset of, all right, I'm going to use my wrestling.
And maybe it'll get to Surreal where he's like kind of confident. He's more confident,
Yeah.
and then he's like, I'm just, and you know, leaping in for punches.
Right. Because, like when John's last couple of fights were relatively close.
Mhm.
I mean,
For him,
they were close, and he didn't use his wrestling, but he probably thought like, well, my striking's better than these guys, so
Mhm.
I don't need to use my wrestling. But I think this time
maybe
he's
it'll
going
be
to
a little
revert back to
smarter.
wrestling. Plus, he's been working with Henry Cejudo, and I'm
Mhm.
sure that Henry's encouraging him to wrestle.
I mean, that worked for Whaley.
Yeah, but I'm sure Henry's encouraging him to wrestle. But I wonder who else John trains with. Like, what's his gym?
I think he's still at Jackson.
No,
I
he's
think,
not.
Or Jackson doesn't train with it? Really?
No,
Oh. But yeah, I don't know.
I don't
He
know
trains
who
at
his gym is.
garage.
but who does he like spar?
Who knows? Maybe he
He
doesn't.
might not spar,
He might
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw an interview where Dana said there is.
Fight Ready Academy. Is that Henry Cejudo's?
It is.
Yeah. So I mean, he doesn't live in Phoenix. I wonder how often he's there. I wonder if Henry will be in his corner. Has that been said?
I feel like I haven't heard that, but it could happen.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. And then I saw Dana White said that there's a backup that will be like weighing in, but he wouldn't say who it was.
Oh, that sucks.
Why?
I hope that neither of them pull out.
Yeah, but if
I guess
someone does,
right.
you want to, you know. But who do you think the backup would be?
I don't know. Maybe like Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
Probably.
Why would they like not tell you?
I don't know.
Unless maybe there isn't a backup and he's like I don't
Backup
know.
fighter is a good role, I think.
Oh,
Because you
it's-
get like a payday, and plus you do like a training camp. It's like doing a training camp. Still, you know, like it's
Mhm.
good preparation because you're training hard and
Yeah.
like with focus, and it's like a practice weight cut.
yeah.
Almost.
There's been
I think that it's a good position if you wanted to come back to fighting after a long layoff. A good thing to do would be like, I'm going to be a backup fighter first and be like ready to go, but probably not.
because then
gonna
if you
fight.
do get the fight, it's like there's still, even though you're the backup fighter and you know about it, there's still a little bit of like lesser expectations.
yeah.
So if you don't, you know, do well, but there's been
I like that.
there's
they do
been
that.
a couple times though, and I get it where I think there's at least like two times where a backup fighter missed weight.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think they tell the backup fighter, they don't know about it as, you know what I mean? They don't know
Right.
about it, you know, 10 weeks out. They know
Right,
about
that's
it
true.
like 4 or 5 weeks out. And it's like, then their motivation's not, especially if they're the backup fighter for a main event where both people don't have trouble missing weight, or, you know what I mean? Saying you're only there really if someone gets hurt or sick.
Right.
Which is less likely, and I think some people are like a little less motivated. But if you are a backup fighter, you weigh in, you get paid your show money.
Yeah. Well, show money, I think you get a flat rate.
No, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said that. You don't get the show money, you get like a flat rate, which is like.
But I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah, I'm sure for them it's. I think I remember hearing about it, but it wasn't like that. I was like, damn, that's not that much.
Yeah, it depends who it is, probably.
Yeah, I'm
Right.
sure the main event.
Like Volkanovski, when he did it for,
Yeah.
he probably got paid.
I'm sure he got
quite
paid
a
a
bit.
decent amount. Yeah. That's great for him because wasn't that up a weight?
Yeah, right.
So
He
that would
probably
be
got
like,
weight.
you have to be a backup fighter at the weight class above you. It's
Right.
like, you know.
Yeah, I think that's good. But yeah, so it's a good fight card. I'd be pretty confident with all our picks.
Yeah.
So that's what, 6 fights that we picked?
5?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, that seems like to me like easy 5-0.
But
We'll see how it goes. It'll probably be like 2 and 3.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works, right? Don't you think
And it's
like
crazy
now
'cause-
like those picks we're like, yeah, all
That's
5 of it.
great.
It's easy.
Yeah,
Five
it's
fight parlay,
so
easy.
hard. One of the fights probably won't even happen.
Yeah. And there's no chance that all 5 of them will win. No
Yeah.
chance. But right now I think like, yeah, they're all definitely going to win.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so hard to bet on fights.
So what else? We got anything else?
We got a few questions. Most of the time, whenever I put question box up, a lot of them are just OnlyFans and asking if I sell socks and underwear.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think this one I don't know if this one's maybe for you, Kyle. Would you do Dancing with the Stars?
Me?
I don't know. Someone just asked, would you do Dancing with the Stars?
You
wouldn't?
I mean, I would, yeah, but I'm not a very good dancer.
Oh,
and I'm not a star.
Well, you're a star in my eyes. I would definitely do it, of course.
Yeah, of course.
I don't think I would do very well, but yeah, I would definitely do Dancing with the Stars.
Great question.
Okay, this one. Guns. Do you own them? Do you love them? Do you hate them? Or are you scared of them?
Own, yes. Love, hate, no. Scared, kind of. And is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like a gun guy.
Yeah.
But I'm certainly not anti-gun, but I just think it's kind of like whatever.
I think that, yeah, I'm like so indifferent about them. I don't care. It's
like, I don't like when people like dramatize them and they're like, well, it's for home defense. If someone comes around, like, what are you going to do? You're going to wake up in the middle of the night, go find your
go in your safe, put your combo in, get it out, load it up, and then go. It's so, that's to me, I'm like, but I think that people you can have, I don't really care.
Do whatever you want.
I don't have any, I'm so scared of them, like so scared, you know? I just don't, and I don't know. It's just like how some girls are like, I want one for protection. Yeah, especially like, it's like, what are you gonna do?
Someone just take it from you. And
that's why like girls like they, they wear like the Lululemon. They're like the Lululemon. What do they call it? Fanny packs that you wear across your chest.
Yeah.
They always say like, oh, it's the perfect size for your gun.
Who says that?
Like all on TikTok for girls to carry guns for protection. They're like when you're doing your hot mom walk with your strollers, you can carry your gun in your Lululemon thing.
Wow.
It's like the perfect size or whatever. But like, what are you gonna do? Hold on, unzip it, pull it out. Wait, maybe, but I don't know. It'll be someone be like, I was just asking for directions.
Yeah, I'm certainly not against it. You could have anything you want. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not against them. I don't like them.
But I don't necessarily like them.
Not against them, don't like them, and I'm scared of them. I also think it's like super cringy. And girls like, I'm going to get a pink gun. Or they're like, the girls that like, it's like guys too, like when going to a shooting range and like guns is their personality. Then the girls like post the picture of them with the gun and they're like from behind. And it's like their butt and they're like shooting a gun like, ooh, so hot.
It's so hot.
And when they're doing, some girls like, have you ever seen like I've seen some girls that are actually in a range and they're like doing it like legit.
Yeah.
But not my idea of a fun time.
Nah.
Okay. Okay. This one's good. Are you guys Team Haley or Team Selena? Haley Bieber, Selena Gomez.
I've
been trying to keep you up with the drama. You're just not really getting into it like I want to. I posted on my story like that I was trying to get you into it, and someone's like said that Kyle's only into the Kardashian drama, which is true. If it was Kardashians, you'd be into it.
I like the Kardashians.
Yeah, I mean Kylie Jenner's a little bit involved in it, but not as you don't really care for her.
But I guess
you know nothing.
I don't know anything, but I would say I'm Team Haley Baldwin because. Bieber. Or whatever. No, but she was Haley Baldwin. Yeah. But Haley Bieber because I like Justin Bieber. Mm-hmm. And I like, well, I guess that's really it. But she's definitely, I think she's definitely prettier than Selena Gomez. So I like her for that reason.
Okay.
And I like that she's friends with the Kardashians.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely Team Haley.
Okay, here's my thing. I don't like kind of too old to know all the drama. I wasn't like the Selena, but
who asked this?
But I will say the internet is being so mean to Haley. They're like basically
because she's hot.
Yeah,
and the other girl's not so cute anymore.
Yeah,
that's why.
Yeah, pretty much. But they are being so mean to Haley. They're saying like, oh, she was like, so basically everyone says back in the day she was a stalker. People that don't realize Justin and Selena were like the when they were like the couple, everyone was obsessed with their relationships. But people forget when they were dating, they were teenagers. They were like kids. So people like romanticize their relationship and like them forever, Selena and Justin forever, but they were children. But then they broke up, and 2 months later he got engaged to Haley. So everyone always just insinuated, oh, they were dating before, he was cheating on her with her, which maybe, but whatever. But Haley and Justin have been married for years now, but everyone is pulling up old footage and talking about how Haley was a fangirl of Justin Bieber and she would stalk him and stuff. And then they're like, Justin married his stalker. Okay, like I mean, most people like kind of like semi-stalk each other.
Only men can be stalkers.
Yeah, but I don't know. And then everyone's just like bringing up, and they're so mean to her, and everyone's like hating on Haley. I'm like, wait, you guys are like bullying her. And first of all these bitches are talking shit on Haley, saying that she's a stalker and she copies everything Selena Gomez does. Well, all of you bitches, me included, copy every single thing that Haley Bieber does and wears, every hairstyle she does, every like clothing she wears, makeup, nails. Like my nails right now are chocolate glazed nails. This Haley Bieber started this color.
I don't think our listeners are gonna relate to this.
Am I ranting on something that no one cares about? Do we not have any like 18-year-old girl listeners?
Probably not.
Okay, my thing is, I think everyone needs to be a little bit nicer to Haley. That stuff they're making fun of them for is stuff that they all did when they were teenagers. All you bitches are making fun of Haley, and all of you do is copy her style, me included, but I'm not making fun of her. Be nicer to Haley Bieber. And Justin can marry whoever he wants. No one talks shit on him.
Right.
Rant over.
Anything else? Any other questions?
Getting heated here. No, that's it. The rest were just inappropriate.
Inappropriate?
Yeah.
Speaking of inappropriate, too bad we couldn't have Zane's human trafficking conversation. But that's for Patreon.
That's for Patreon.
Okay. Thanks for listening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.